you know, a maul, like a big heavy thing you used to break up rocks with, and it hit him in the face with it because I guess his jaw had locked shut.
On October 26, 2003, police discovered the body of 18-year-old Jared Whaley in a shallow grave in Boulder City, Nevada, 2 weeks after he had gone missing. He was shot to death with a 20-gauge shotgun, after which his skull was cracked and his lower jaw was destroyed. And behind this killing was a teen suspect, Shane Johnson, who is now being interrogated.
Matt had like tore the bag open around his head or something like that to try and open his mouth to take the teeth out.
Shane's account resembles the plot of a slasher movie, and besides him, another group of teens called The Crew committed this bloodbath. But what led them to commit such a gruesome act?
Matt had stripped him down naked.
Who did?
Matt. It's gonna get even more disturbing here.
It all started with a disturbing 911 call on October 26, 2003. It led police to discover the body of 18-year-old Jared Whaley in Boulder City, Nevada. His body had been buried in a shallow grave and left exposed to a week of rainfall in the Mojave Desert, about 25 miles from the Las Vegas Strip. According to Jared's mother, he went missing on October 16, 2003. Jared had severe injuries to his face, with his lower teeth completely destroyed. His feet and skull were found wrapped in green garbage bags. Several pieces of evidence were found near the grave, including liquor bottles, buttons from Wrangler jeans, and a burn pile. Despite finding Jared's body, police were initially unable to identify Jared due to its horrific condition. As a result, he remained missing for almost 4 months. On February 12, 2004, authorities finally identified the remains as Jared's after matching dental records from a missing person report. These findings eventually led investigators to several suspects, including 2 teenagers, 18-year-old Matt Baker and 17-year-old Shane Johnson. Upon interrogating Shane, detectives were met with a tale so harrowing it would linger in their minds like a nightmare.
From the very beginning, I need to know why you guys dug the grave, why they tried killing him, what happened.
Okay, I don't know why they had tried killing him because...
You need to start from the very beginning.
Okay, well, very beginning, that would be before I'd met them.
Okay.
I guess that was when they had their business of selling the pot and that stuff. And from what I've heard is he smoked all the product or something like that, and then they tried to put Visine in his drink. And
were you there for that?
No.
Okay.
And then this and that, and I don't know how many other tries they've had or what they've done. But then we had gone out and we dug that grave.
Did you know you guys didn't go out and dig a grave?
No. And I didn't know who it was for at the time either, just like I said.
Who was all there?
It was Gerald. I don't think Gerald had known who it was for either. It was Shane, me, and Matt. And
Shane who?
Myers. I think that was it. I'm not positive on that. I'm trying to remember right now. I have this really crappy memory from alcohol, and it sucks. That's why I stopped drinking. I know Gerald was there because we took his truck. I know Baker was there because he was there. I know Shane was there.
Shane
Myers.
Okay.
That's the only other Shane I know. I'm trying to remember the way there because I remember I was sitting in the back with Matt, and we could have squeezed another person up to the front. It might have been Johnny who was there also. I don't remember his last name. The one who had moved to Chicago? I don't remember his last name, though. He might have been there. I'm not positive on that, but I know you can fit 3 people in Gerald's truck, and you got to kind of cramp in there, and then I remember it was Matt and I laying in the back. So I figured that means there must have been 5 people. And then later on, I was informed of who it was for.
Who told you?
It had been Matt who had told me.
And what did Matt inform you of?
He said that, at first he was like, we're planning to take somebody out. And I was like, well, why? And he was like, well, this, that, and the other thing.
Well, we need to know what this, that, and the other thing means.
I think it was for, because he had smoked his product and what else? Because he was a moron or something. They said that he was stupid and was just fucking stuff up. And I think that was about it. And
like what type of stuff up, man?
Like, just stupid things, like stupid incidences. Like, I don't know exactly what he meant by stuff up, but just because I wasn't in the business, so I don't know what he could have up. But my best guess would be opening his mouth when he shouldn't or something like that. Me being a stupid kid, I was like, okay, I'll go for you guys with that. And then we get to that night, and I can explain everything.
What night?
It was...
What night are you going to take us to?
Well, they said he had disappeared on the 10th, right? Well, it was the night before that, because that's when it had happened.
He had disappeared on the 15th, which is a Wednesday.
Oh, was it the 15th?
Yeah.
Oh, because in the newspaper it said the 10th. But he had disappeared on the Wednesday? Well, then it was probably the Tuesday before.
Okay. Take me through that entire day and that whole evening events.
All right.
Okay?
Okay. Well, let's think. At the beginning of the day...
And I need to interrupt you one more time before you get going on this.
Okay.
I need to know telephone calls, who called who put this whole thing together, everything.
Okay.
Okay? Everything.
Okay. Well, Matt had the plan to begin with.
When did he come up with the plan? I'm sorry.
I'm not sure. When he had informed me of it was like a week after we had dug the grave.
Okay, so a week later he told you the plan?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we'd gone to school just like usual. It was just like a regular day. And we had gone out drinking.
Did you go to school that day?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we had gone out. And I remember when I picked up my stun gun, sorry to interrupt, but it was after school. I hadn't ditched school to go get it. I remembered that. Sorry about that.
It's all good.
I remembered
It's all
it the other
good.
night.
It's all good.
What day did you pick up the stun gun?
He picked it up.
I don't remember what day, but all I know is it was after school.
Yeah, he didn't ditch school that day because last time we talked to him, he couldn't remember.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, good. Cool.
Yeah. And then we had gone to school just like usual, and we had gone out drinking after school because we couldn't do it on a Wednesday.
Where'd you get the beer at?
I'm pretty sure Matt had stolen it from Albertsons.
Okay, one of their beer runs.
Yeah.
And instead of early Friday, you guys went out a day before.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I remember Shane couldn't do it on a Wednesday. He couldn't drink because the Boy Scouts, and they had those meetings on Wednesdays.
Okay.
And so we had drank, and then...
Who was all there when you was drinking?
It was me, Shane, Myers, Matt, Jared...
Matt.
Baker.
Okay.
Jared, and then Cody.
Okay. And Cody's last name?
Myers.
Okay.
The brothers.
Okay.
And that was it.
Shane's forgetfulness while being questioned about the dates proves that his plan is to shift all the blame on his crew members, even though he is just as guilty as his co-defendants. Contrary to his statements, Gerald also played his part by driving the crew out to the 50-mile marker on the road to Hoover Dam. On top of that, Shane and the rest of his crew didn't mention anything about the murder the next day at school because they all tried to play it smart. Later on, we'll see that Stephen Springfield had something to do with it. It's evident that Shane's role is much bigger than what he claims, and what he reveals next will only confirm this suspicion.
We let Jared off at his house, and then I went to Matt's house to spend the night that night. And we had told him that we were going off-roading in the middle of the night. So we had picked him up late that night. We had no calls or anything like that. Nothing like that. And then I think Shane had picked up one of his dad's shotguns.
How'd you guys pick Jared up from his house?
We drove up and Matt had thrown a rock at his window. And he came downstairs.
Oh, okay.
So we got out there and we were drinking. We were taking shots of tequila. And I hate tequila, but I don't know why we were. And then I had stun gunned Jared in the chest, but it didn't work because he had a sweater on and it had like some of that plastic stuff, so it didn't even do anything. And he was like, well, why'd you do that? And I was like, I don't know, I just wanted to show you my stun gun. And then we were trying to light a fire, and Jared was looking over at me, and like we had gone out and talked, and I was like, well, I don't think it's a good idea because things aren't going the way they were supposed to and this and that.
Who's we?
Oh, it was me and Matt who had gone out and like walked away from the group. And then I had told him that, and he's like, well, we'll just see where things go. And then I was lighting a fire, and it's like the most disturbing sound you'll ever hear. I was looking at Jared in the face, and then I looked down to start the fire, and then in the back of the head with a tire iron.
Who?
Shane.
Shane who?
Myers.
Okay.
He had hit him in the back of the head with a tire iron, and he had gotten up and was like, what the f***? And they started arguing, and this and that, and he had gone and sat in the car and was like this.
He was bleeding in the car?
It wasn't in the car. Like, there was no actual blood in the car because he was leaning his head forward. And then Matt had taken the gun out, And all this time, Cody, who was there, he was in the car plugging his ears and eyes. And, like, Jared had walked, like, let's say this...
Let me get you a piece of paper to write on.
You can draw on? Or?
Yeah.
Where did he sit in the truck, man?
Where did I?
No, where did Jared?
Right
You said
front.
Jared went into the truck.
Right front.
And you said Cody was in the back seat.
Yeah.
Who all went out that night?
It was me, Shane Myers, Cody Myers, Matt Baker, and Jared.
Who's Steve?
Steve was just a drunk guy.
He was just a drunk guy that night?
He wasn't even there.
Okay.
Yeah, I had seen that you guys had picked him up. I was watching the news last night, and I was like, well, Steve didn't do anything. But I guess he had known about it, because I guess Steve had it in for him too or something, and Matt told him. And then here's the car. Here's Matt standing with the shotgun on the tailgate. And then here comes Jared walking around. And then I was over here on this side of the car still tending to the fire because it was starting to go out. And then I hear, and it wasn't really loud like I had thought it was going to be, but he had shot him in the chest right here. And then he started screaming, and I started walking over there wondering what the hell had just happened. And I saw it, and it almost had made me sick to my stomach. And then Jared had fallen over to the left, and he stood up, and then he had shot him in the head, I think right here, on one side. I don't remember which side it was, but it had gone in there, and he was laying there, and then we had gone out.
Was he dead?
No, he was unconscious, and then he had died like 2 minutes later. And we had gone out, it was Shane, I, and Cody. We had gone out to look for the hole that was previously dug, and we couldn't find it.
You guys panicked?
I was already panicked, because I didn't think it was going to happen, because I just talked to Matt, and I thought it was going to stop, but it didn't. And then we had left Matt with a flashlight so we could find our way back, because it was dark. And we had come back, and Matt was there, and Jared was there, and Matt had stripped him down naked.
Who did?
Matt. It's going to get even more disturbing here.
That's fine.
Shortly. It's fine for you guys, but I was there, and I didn't like how it was happening at all. And then, like, they had put him in a trash bag before we had gone out because they were trying... Matt and Shane had put him in the trash bag and duct taped the trash bag shut because they were going to try and put him in the car and take him to the hole. But then we couldn't find the hole, so he was still there. And then he was already stripped down naked, and we started digging, and we dug for a long while. And then after we had got done digging, they tossed him in. It was because Cody was in the car the whole time. He was just freaking out, and I was freaking out too, and I helped him put it into the hole. And then I had gone back over by the car, and then I guess Matt had taken a maul, like, you know, a maul, like a big heavy thing you used to break up rocks with, and it hit him in the face with it, because I guess his jaw had locked shut. This is the disturbing part I was telling you about, and he cut it out right here, up and around, and had taken it with pliers or something and dug another little hole and put it in, and then buried him up and poured beer on top of the grave, drove over it a few times, and drove away.
Police reports reveal that Matt was the primary culprit who lured Jared to the desert with the excuse of having a party called the Last Hurrah. When Jared heard about this party, he thought it'd be an off-roading adventure and agreed to join the crew. Once Jared reached the desert, Shane Johnson got Jared drunk, and following this plan, he attempted to shock him with a stun gun. Furthermore, Shane Johnson's confessions show that he fully supported Shane Myers' effort to hit Jared with a tire iron and crack Jared's skull open. In addition, Steven Springfield, who Shane calls Steve, was not just a drunk guy. He played a major role in conspiring and planning the abduction. After Jared was killed, Steven was the only one to whom Matt revealed everything, and Steven, in order to prove his undying loyalty, helped Matt clean up his blood-stained clothes after the murder. Shane Johnson's willingness to dig up the grave also proves that he also made significant efforts to conceal the crime. And just when we think this couldn't get any worse, Matt taking the decision to use the mall to further assault Jared's dead body makes it even more disturbing. Investigative reports reveal that these criminals drew lots of inspiration from mafia movies such as Casino. Now, in the coming moments, the detectives are about to delve into the places in which Shane and his buddies hid all the evidence.
Where's his clothes at?
He had burned them.
Where at?
At the drinking hill.
Okay.
Like, you know how there's that little fire pit down there?
Uh-huh.
I guess he had done it to the right of the drinking hill. Or the right of the fire pit. Had burned them there. I wasn't with them when they had burned it then. And that's it. Now I get to start writing that down? Or?
Give me a diagram.
Okay. That's a car. That's door number 1. It's door number 2.
Just put like an E for engine or something like that, or F for front, something like that.
There's the engine. And here's the tailgate. And here was where the shotgun was. Here's where the fire was. Here's where the hole was. Here's where Jared had walked around, like that, and that's where Matt had come around and got him in the chest, and then Jared went, and fell over. And then had gotten back up, and this is where he was standing when he had shot him in the head. And then the car went, and drove to try and find the other hole, and had come back.
Okay, I thought you guys walked to go find the hole. Now I understand.
No, we had driven. And then we had to dig this hole. It wasn't very deep or anything. And then here's where Cody was laying. Here's where Jared was when he got hit in the head with the thing and was bleeding in the car.
Okay.
And then here's where I was when I was trying to tend to the fire. And then I heard the sound and I came around this way, and that's when he had gotten him in the head. And then I freaked out and went over here. And then we had put him in the hole. There's him in the hole. There's a head. Here's Matt. And here's a mall. Hitting him in the head. And then here was another hole. And here's where the jaw had gone.
How far away?
Like, not too far. I think it was like 15 or 20 feet. Within walking distance. And Matt had covered up the blood spots on the desert floor with the shovel, had turned over the dirt. And then we filled in the hole, poured beer on top. Shane had ran it over a few times. And then we went do and drove home. And then he had dropped me off at Matt's house, and I stayed up the rest of that night, which wasn't very long. And was like a zombie the day at school, and the day after that, and after that, and after that.
What did they do with the items in the truck? Okay, when you guys left, who got dropped off first?
It was Matt and I who had gotten dropped off, and Matt had like the tools in a like milk jug.
What tools in the milk jug?
I think it was a knife and a pair of pliers. And then Shane had the maul and the shovels.
Okay.
And then they went their separate ways, and then I went to school, and I'm not sure if Matt did or not, because I don't know if he was still going to school then. But then I don't know what happened to the tools that they had used, but I know the shotgun is at Shane's house somewhere in there.
Okay.
Like in a safe or something, I don't remember.
Okay. Can you describe the shotgun for me?
It was a 20 gauge break action.
Okay.
I don't know what brand or anything like that, and it had broken at the top like that. Right.
How many barrels? 1 barrel, 2 barrel, 3 barrels?
One. Nothing too fancy. Like, I'm a gun enthusiast, and it didn't.
Recognize it if you saw it again.
Yeah. I'm sure I would. I remember Matt had shells for it, like 3 of them. After he had shot, he popped it open just a little bit and grabbed the casing and put it in the car, and same with the next shot, thinking that is where their ballistics are, is in the shell itself, which it's not, as far as I know.
Where's it at?
I'm pretty sure the ballistics comes from the thing that actually shoots out the barrel, because they have to go from rifling fingerprinting, right?
There you go.
That's what I thought. I didn't think it was from the shell, but I guess you could get prints off of a shell or something. Have you seen the Jeep Cherokee?
Yeah.
Like, you know the back seat?
Mm-hmm.
How it goes like that and how it opens?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's where the gun was. It was laying in there.
When you guys first went out there, or?
Yeah. and on the way back. It's not there anymore.
Was the shotgun loaded when you left there? Or when you went there, I'm sorry.
Not that I know of.
Who loaded it?
I'm pretty sure Matt had loaded it, because he was the one who was fiddling with it. Because he was in the back. I guess he was taking it out when I was trying to keep the fire going.
Okay.
And then I'm pretty sure he had loaded it and shot him with it. And
the shovel. What type of handle was it?
It was a wooden handle.
Wooden handle?
Yeah.
Okay.
Shane's indifference confirms that this entire tale of terror was premeditated by him and the rest of the so-called gangsters. Shane Myers was the one who lent his shotgun to Matt. However, the police couldn't bring either of them in for questioning because they requested an attorney. Although the roles of these two are out of the way, Shane omits another key detail: the exact role of Cody. Reports from the police stated that in addition to assisting the others, Cody was the one who loaded the 20-gauge shotgun during the attack. So to bring each of these suspects' individual actions to light, the investigators are about to ask for more details about the mall.
And the mall was like it had a plastic stock, and it was yellow. I think he had gotten rid of it though. Like he kept it up until they discovered the body, and then I think he had gotten rid of it then.
Do you know where he got rid of it at?
No, but I know that it was burned because he thought that if he burned it, it would sterilize it and take off all DNA evidence. But I don't think that's true either.
Nah.
But I know my mom was freaked out yesterday because I guess some trash bags had been stolen out of my garage at about that time because we had gone out for my keg party. Yeah. And then...
Did you guys get the keg for your keg party?
Yeah, my mom did for me. Don't get her in trouble for that, please.
No, dude. Your mom's allowed to give you the drink?
Yeah.
Did Jared go with you?
No, he was already gone by then. But
Oh, it was after?
Yeah.
Where'd you guys go?
Lake Mojave.
Lake Mojave?
Yeah.
How did you get to Matt's house that night? The night this happened?
Shane had dropped this off earlier in the evening.
Okay. Where were the items that he had?
Matt had the shotgun at his house.
Okay, when did he get the shotgun?
I'm not sure.
Were you there? What time did you hook up with Matt that day?
I'd seen him at school that day, but I had gone back to his house after we had got done drinking at like 6.
Okay.
And
it was there then?
Yeah.
Okay. What else was at the house?
On the side of the house was a shovel and the mall at Matt's house, and then beer and a bottle of tequila.
Okay. And the shovel, maul, and shotgun came from where?
I don't know where the shovel had come from. I think Matt might have had that.
Okay.
The maul came from Shane's house, and the shotgun came from Shane's house.
Okay. We were told some specific things happened.
Like?
When, on the night before, where Baker was talking to everybody in the truck, when it was just Cody, Shane, and you in the truck.
Yeah, I think he was saying to, make a list of things that they needed or something like that.
Okay.
And he had the list, and he burned the list in his front yard, this and that, but he was talking about how it was going to work, and this and that, and some half-baked idea, and just something like that. I don't remember exactly what he had said, but it didn't really make too much sense at the time.
Okay.
Is that double wide?
That could be, because I know that the one that he was put in wasn't that big. Yeah, probably. I think that's the one that was previously dug. Because I know the one that had been dug when it actually happened was just barely long enough and 2 feet deep, maybe.
Who all was drinking?
I think everybody.
How much do you think Jared had drank?
Not much. He was about it being, beer being hot. And I was like, well, it's cold outside, so it's like hot cocoa. Jared and I were talking about it, and how that was a bunch of beer that he drank.
Is there a reason to give him that much beer?
No.
Wasn't part of the plan to get him drunk?
Can you explain what the plan was? Because you keep mentioning the plan, we never really went into that.
Well, what the plan was from Matt was that we were going to go out there, and we were going to go a little bit away from where the hole that we had already dug, and then I was going to stun gun him, and it was going to knock him out, and then he was going to shoot him or something, and then we were going to put him into a hole and bury him and drive home.
The plan was for double wide.
Yeah, but we never found that. Matt had said to pick up everything that might have been dropped and this and that, and make sure that nothing was left behind.
Where was Shane standing at when Matt shot him? Like right behind him?
Like to the side of him.
To the side of him?
Yeah.
What happened when you guys got back in the truck and were driving back? Was anything discussed?
No, everybody was really quiet. Cody was on the verge of puking, and I was almost on the verge of puking, and Matt was chain smoking and listening to at House of the Rising Sun over and over and over and over again. And then Shane just wasn't talking.
Who was the lookout?
Lookout for what?
For anybody coming around where you guys were at and what you were doing?
Nobody really. We didn't think that anybody would go out there.
How much beer do you think you had consumed that night?
Probably a little under 18 beers.
What item was it that Shane Myers struck Jared in the head?
A tire iron.
Was that the tire iron from the Jeep?
Do you know where that came from?
The Jeep.
Location in the Jeep?
Under the driver's seat.
This is the moment when Shane finally drops the bomb. Contrary to his previously vague statements, Shane confesses that his act of stun gunning Jared was completely premeditated. His clarity also sheds light on the communication he had with Matt. But this is only a fragment of the horrors Jared was subjected to. What Shane confesses further is going to make one's skin crawl.
You said that Shane and Matt taped him up.
Yeah.
Can you describe how he was taped up?
Matt was like, well, lift his feet up, and I tried to touch him, and it was still warm, and I was all scared, and I went back over by the car, acting like I was trying to take care of Cody, but really I didn't want to be there. And then they had lifted up the feet and put half of a bag, or a full bag on half of him, and full bag on the other half, and duct taped it in between, like that way and that way.
Was tape used anywhere else that you saw?
Not that I know of. I think they might have tried to tape the hole in his head, maybe. Or on his chest or something, I don't remember.
Did you see who did that?
Matt was the one who was mostly doing everything. Because I was over by the car with Cody, and then Shane was trying to help, but I think he was pretty freaked out too. And Matt was the only one who didn't have a problem with it. And I remember that when he had stripped him naked, he said something to the effect of, for all the bragging he does about his size, it was sure not well deserved or something like that. Trying to make humor, and it wasn't funny.
Where did Shane strike Jared Whaley in the head with the tire iron?
Can you say that out loud, man?
Yeah, on the back of the head. He had taken 3 full steps, I think, from what he had said afterwards. Because he had said, wow, I can't believe he didn't go down after that. But I guess he had taken 3 full steps and a wind up and a swing.
Jared fall down at all?
No.
When he got hit, he just shook it off? Or?
Yeah, basically. Wow. I know.
Bigger man than me.
I got hit in the back of the head with a bat and I was out cold.
I got hit in the back with actually in the face with a softball and got knocked out.
I hit myself in the head with a pipe and got knocked out. That was an accident.
So did you guys discuss this any time after this occurrence?
No, I preferred not to talk about it at all.
Was there any bragging or anything like that going on?
No.
You be willing to take us on a field trip to the area?
Yeah, didn't we already talk about that on the
Yeah. Is that cool, though?
Yeah.
Okay.
Should have brought my jacket, but that's okay.
We'll get you some.
Can it be one of those cool police jackets?
We'll see.
Hey, anything unusual about the duct tape?
Just silver duct tape. I remember Matt had picked it up at Home Depot before. He was going there to ask for duct tape, and Matt's not very knowledgeable about anything. And he was like, well, we need to pick up this duct tape. And I was like, well, that's cloth tape. And I'd asked the guy, I was like, what duct tape has the highest amount of...
When did you buy it?
I think it was probably like 2 or 3 days before it had happened. Matt had paid for it.
Do you remember how he paid for it?
Money. No, wait, he stole it. I remember now. Yeah, he had stolen it. Tensile strength. That's the word. I'd asked the guy which one has the most tensile strength.
And he pointed out that one?
Yeah.
Picked Jared up on, he had the hill party on Tuesday night, and then you took him back out to Dry Lake down that night. That makes it Tuesday night.
Yeah. Well, Wednesday morning.
When he didn't show up for school and all that.
Yeah.
So what day do you think it was that you went to Home Depot with Matt?
I think it was the previous Friday. I think. Because I remember it was a school day.
Buying this tape was solely for what purpose?
For tying Jared up.
What happened to those?
I think Matt had put him in a pile and burned him with tequila, along with all the rest of his clothes.
Right beside the grave, or?
Yeah. Like if here was the grave, over here was where he had burned it.
Did Jared have a chain on his wallet?
Oh yeah, Matt had taken his wallet, and on the way home he was taking stuff out of it and breaking it up and throwing it out the window. I remember that. I don't know if he had taken the wallet itself, but...
On the way back, where'd you guys sit?
Matt was in the front again. I think it was the same basic seating order, except for I was on the other side. Like, I wasn't where I could see the gauges, I was right here, with my head between my legs.
Trying to keep it together?
Yeah, trying to. Should have never happened, but...
You said the jaw was buried.
There.
And it's before the Jeep?
Yeah.
So about 15 feet from the grave,
Something
head
like
of the
that.
grave.
Yeah, it was at, catty corner to that piece right there.
What was Cody doing all this time?
Freaking out in the car.
But Cody knew what was going down.
Yeah.
Cody made no attempt to save Jared.
We didn't.
After Matthew Baker shot him with the shotgun in the torso area, and he shot him in the head, you said that it was a couple minutes before you knew he died. What do you mean?
Like he was lying there and he was still breathing.
All these statements brutally show the extent to which these perpetrators went in order to discard Jared's body like a piece of trash. For someone who was freaking out, Shane definitely went the extra mile to help Matt out. Moreover, while it's somewhat commendable of Shane to be this blunt with his confessions, he hasn't given away the exact motive yet. However, as per the investigative reports, Matt anticipated that Jared might report to the police about their drug dealings. This was a big reason why they were plotting to get rid of this 18-year-old. Prior to murdering Jared, Gerald and the crew attempted to take his life by poisoning him with eye drops and pure nicotine. But despite falling ill each time, Jared survived the poisoning attempts. In the next moments, Shane is about to reveal another unsettling detail: how he and his mates searched for the grave.
And that's when we had gone to look for the other grave. And then, while we were gone, is when he had passed away.
Who all went to go look for the other grave?
Cody was in the car, I was in the car, and Shane was in the car.
Driving in the Jeep hunting?
Yeah.
And who was staying with the body?
Matt.
When you returned?
He was not breathing anymore, not twitching anymore, nothing like that.
So then the decision was to, can't find a grave.
Yeah, Matt was like, oh, well, we'll just dig one right here.
Okay.
And I was freaking out. There was dug up dirt because there was, blood spots, and Matt had gone and turned up that dirt.
When Shane hit Jared, what exactly happened?
Jared was like, ah, and started yelling and was like, what the f*** was that for? And then Shane came up with some stupid excuse that he had broken his butterfly knife. I was over here, Jared was coming out of the car towards here. I remember him saying, I know what's going to happen if you guys just take me home, and then bam.
So he knew he was going to get killed?
I believe so, right at the end up there.
Why do you think that?
Well, he had just been stun gunned and hit in the back of the head with a tire iron. I mean, it wasn't going good for him that night.
Jared pleading for his life?
No.
Screaming and crying?
All I know is that he was out of the car and he was right here, and Shane was right here, and Matt was right here, and then bang.
You saw a muzzle flash?
No, because it was on the other side of the car. And the report from the rifle wasn't even that loud. I'd never heard a 20 gauge get shot before, and I never really want to hear one get shot again.
Where were you at when the second shot went off?
I was right about here.
How long between the two shots?
30 seconds. There was no real time at all.
He go down the first one?
From what I heard Cody say, because Cody was laying right here, he had tipped over to the side and come back up. And then that's when they shot him in the head. Well, Matt shot him in the head. You can't have a party on a rifle.
And you said he was standing when he was shot in the head?
Yeah.
Did he say anything after he was shot?
No.
Where did the trash bags come from?
I remember Shane had picked them up from his house, but I think they were actually taken from my house previously, because the other night my mom had informed me when she was watching the news, she was like, Shane, remember those trash bags that had gone missing from our garage? And I was like, yeah. She was like, I think one of your friends might have stolen them.
Were the trash bags like normal size, or were they?
I'm not sure. I didn't get a chance to read the box.
How far did they go up under his butt?
Like, both of them had, like, barely started to overlap. That overlapped about, like, an inch or so.
So that's why the third bag was wrapped around him?
I didn't know that there was a third bag wrapped around him, but... I didn't know that. All I had thought that there was only 2 bags.
What were you doing when Matt and Shane were wrapping him up?
I was standing right here talking to Cody, trying to calm him down.
Why is Steve Stringfield telling us he was there as a lookout?
Steve wasn't there. Steve was at his house. I don't know why he would say that he was there, but he wasn't. He was at home the whole time. That's why when I'd watched the news last night and it said they've arrested these people and they said Steve's name, I was like, Steve wasn't there. Why is he arrested? But he had known about it.
How did he know about it?
Because Matt had told him.
Before or after?
After.
Why would Matt tell us you shot him?
That I shot him? I don't know. I don't know why I'd say that I had shot him. I'm sure everybody's trying to push the blame around on who had shot him. But I remember specifically that Matt was here and Shane was here, and Matt was the one who had pulled the trigger. Because I remember he was laying there and nobody really touched him until they started, like, taking his clothes off and whatnot like that. Like, they had stripped his clothes down and put him in the bags, and then we went, like, then we had started digging the hole, and then they put him in the hole, and then Matt was like, well, this, that, and the other thing in dental records, and tried to open his mouth, but rigor mortis had set in, and his jaw was locked, so he'd taken them all and hit him in the face 2 times or so.
And you said that came from Shane's house?
Yeah.
When you dug double wide, you knew who it was for.
No, I didn't. I found out like a week later.
Who dug this hole for Jared?
It was Shane, me, and then Matt had dug a little bit too.
How come so shallow?
Because there was no time. We were running out of time because the car had to be back. Because Shane wasn't supposed to go out that night.
When you guys were taping him up and stuff like that, he had to be pretty bloody.
Not as much as you'd think.
Okay.
Because I don't think any blood was coming out of his head, and his chest wound was only bleeding a little bit.
Okay.
And then Matt had gloves on.
What type of gloves?
Latex gloves. And I had latex gloves on, and I think Shane was the only person who didn't have gloves on, and that's why I was confused when, like, y'all first found it, because why didn't you just fingerprint the bag, because I'm pretty sure he had touched the bag.
Where'd you get the latex gloves in?
Matt had them. I think he had stolen them from a doctor's office or something.
How did it make you feel when all this was going on?
I was freaking out, and I wish it wasn't happening, and I was, like, trying to close my eyes and wake up from a bad dream. But I didn't wake up from a bad dream.
It's not clear why Shane keeps claiming that Stephen was mostly innocent when he clearly tried to do away with the evidence. In fact, Stephen was the first suspect whose name Jared's mother gave to the police. Although Shane's confessions are crucial, they also seem to dilute his own apparent guilt. And one aspect that he couldn't explain well is moments away from getting revealed.
How come you never called the police?
Because I was afraid that Matt was gonna call his devil's disciples, or him and Shane might come after me or something like that, because seeing what Matt was capable of, it freaked me out.
Were you ever threatened by anybody?
No. But I knew if I went and told somebody that would be my demise right there. I didn't really want to go the same way that he had gone, and I wish he had never gone at all.
How come you kept hanging out with Matt?
How come I kept hanging out with him?
Mm-hmm.
Just because it was like somebody who had done something with me that we had gone out and done, and then I don't know why, like, he was kind of a friend of mine, and then I was just weirded out, and I had a feeling if I stopped hanging out with him, he'd be like, well, what the hell is he up to?
Is there anything that you're leaving out?
No, that was everything. I can show you where everything happened.
Okay, we'll take you and do that. What was everyone else's involvement in the planning of it?
I don't know, I guess he had talked to Shane about it and trying to figure out how they'd do it and how Shane could get the shotgun and whatnot like that.
Why would Shane want to do this?
I don't know, because he was pissed off at him because he would come over to his house and, like, not have any respect for anything in the house and break miscellaneous stuff. Stupid reasons. I don't think anybody should lose their life over anything that's stupid.
Yeah, I agree. How did Cody get brought into this?
I don't know, Cody had wanted to come for some reason. I don't understand anything Cody does. He's kind of a... You talked to Cody, right? Have you? Oh, okay. Well, he's kind of a... Not all there. Like, he's not mentally challenged or anything. He's just very simple.
Have you ever heard Steve talking about wanting to hurt Jared?
No, but I heard from the last time I was in here that when they had gone off to Blue Diamond that Steve said he wanted to cut his throat or something like that, but I didn't know him when they had gone out to Blue Diamond.
What do you think of Steve?
I think he's a drunk. He needs rehabilitation.
Needs rehab. So what was Matt's beliefs on racism and stuff like that?
I don't know, Matt seemed like he would just say whatever he could to get people to follow his way.
Like what?
Like, he was more of a... like to manipulate people, I've noticed. Because he can manipulate just about anybody. He thinks he has everything planned out and everything working perfectly, but he's actually not very smart. Like, he thinks that he can come up with perfect plans, but they never work out right because he doesn't think them all the way through.
Like this?
Yeah. Oh, my life is finally starting to go good.
Getting it off your chest, huh?
Yeah. No, like, I had a job, and I'd actually had 2 jobs. I hadn't gone to jail like my older brother had. I had a girlfriend. I was going to visit my dad in a little while. But I'm glad it's out in the open.
Now we can start dealing with it.
Yeah. Like, I just remember how hard it was going to see my older brother when he was in jail. And how, when he had gotten out, things were so much better, and him and I had gotten along a lot better, and this and that, but remembering going to visit him was like the hardest thing in the world. Because I know after that 30 minutes or however long it was, that he has to go back up and get locked up in a cage again.
Do you feel better getting it off the chest talking to us?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd feel better if it had never happened, but there's nothing I can do about that.
You know that Jared's never going to be 18.
Yeah, I know that.
His poor mother.
I know.
His poor mother.
If I could change time, I would, and have it never happen. And
I know.
he had gotten out of the car, and that's when Matt had shot him. He had came around the side of the tailgate, and Matt was waiting there for him.
Was he pleading for his life?
No. He had, just right before the end, he was like, I know what you guys are going to do. If you just take me home right now, nothing will happen. And then there was the report from the rifle, and...
So the last thing he said is, take me home, nothing will happen.
Yeah.
And then Matt put the gun to his head and shot him?
No, it was still a ways away. It was like from that wall to you.
So far, we have seen that Shane has not been completely truthful about Cody and Steven's role. That's why the detectives are about to confront him with some inconsistencies.
Shane, there's some inconsistencies.
Okay.
Okay.
Like?
We're going to go back over everything.
Okay.
All right. Make sure you don't leave nothing out.
Okay.
All right, because there's other people that were involved, and I'm not saying that they telling us the truth or you're telling us the truth, but their stories match.
Okay.
Okay. I want you to go back over this thing, and it's kind of like the easiest way to explain it. Okay. Whenever somebody's in trouble or anything like that, they tend to like step back, try to withdraw themselves from the incident.
Yeah.
Or minimize it, as to say.
I understood.
You're minimizing some.
Yeah.
Okay? So let's go back over this. Don't minimize.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to tell us everything. Absolutely everything. Because we know.
Yeah.
Alright? And
I didn't think I was minimizing anything, but I guess I might have been. But I don't remember any hand-to-hand confrontation, anything like that. I remember that I had tried to help put him in the bag, and it was still warm, and it had freaked me out.
Mm-hmm.
And then...
Was he still moving around?
No. Not at that time. He never really moved around at all.
At what point did you know that he was deceased?
When we had come back from trying to find the other hole. Because he wasn't moving, he wasn't breathing. And then I think either me or Matt had checked his pulse.
Did you check?
Yeah, it wasn't moving anymore.
How'd you check it? Show me.
Like that.
Okay.
We had put him in the hole after we had dug it, and that was like an hour or so to dig that. Matt had like tore the bag open around his head or something like that to try and open his mouth to take the teeth out, but then he had cut like here, and I was holding the flashlight, and he had cut from like here over to here, and it had taken the entire palate out, and that was after he had dropped them all on his head a few times, and that was really disturbing. I didn't even watch during that.
What do you mean palate?
His upper palate?
Yeah.
Upper palate?
He cut, well, what did he cut that out with?
It was a knife that he had gotten at the same place that I'd gotten my stun gun, but it was like a switchblade, and it had like lines in it, and then it was like one of those military issue ones, and it was really, really sharp, like you could shave with it. That's what he had used for that.
How long did it take to cut the palate out?
It seemed like forever, but I guess in real time it was like less than a minute.
Wow.
I think. I mean, it took no time at all, because what had happened was when he hit him in the head with the maul, it had crushed his face bones, and like just about all the bones there, and then he had cut in and over and pulled it out.
Did you guys ever go back to the burial site?
No.
When you guys took his clothes off, his body, did anybody try to mutilate his body anymore?
No. I remember...
You guys talking about it?
No, we were talking about it. Like, I had said that, like, a while back, earlier, I had said that I'd always wanted to, like, break somebody's kneecap backwards. And then Matt was like, well, you could do it now. And I was like, no, thank you.
Matt said that?
Yeah, I didn't want to do that at all. It was just like one of those childhood dreams. Like, I was molested as a child, and I still want to go back and take the guy who molested me and nail him to the ceiling with a high-powered nail gun.
I can understand that.
And just things like that, things that flash through your mind.
Sure.
When you guys placed the bag over his legs, legs just flopping around, or what's the deal?
Basically. Like, I don't think it had gone into rigor mortis by then.
Whose idea was it to tape him?
Tape the legs, or tape it up? I think it was a mixture of Shane and Matt's, because they wanted to put it in the back of the car, and they didn't want to get blood all over the car.
You're saying it?
The body.
Okay.
I grabbed the legs, and Matt had grabbed the top, and we put it in the hole, and then Matt was like, oh no, what about the teeth? And like,
that's when he went back in. And...
Yeah.
Let's start from the beginning again, okay?
Okay.
Take a little quick breath. We're going to start all over again, okay?
Alright.
You guys went to Jared's house.
Yeah. Matt had thrown a rock at his window.
Okay.
Because I didn't know what window we had at that time.
Why did you do that and not call him?
I don't know.
Okay.
Because it was the middle of the night and he didn't want to wake anyone up.
They had their own phone line.
I think I'd heard about him having his own phone lines, but I don't know why I hadn't called.
Okay.
And then he had known that we were going to come by late at night, and so we went by and we picked him up, and we were driving out there, and I remember before we had gotten there, he wanted to listen to a song by a band that he liked.
What was the name of that?
I don't remember the name of the song, but I remember it was by the Boulder Surfers. I had only heard them that one time. And then we'd gone out there and we did a little tiny bit of off-roading and went back and we were drinking and they were taking shots of tequila. And like I said, I don't like tequila. It smells like crap. Tastes like it too.
It does.
And then they like raised their glasses and it was supposed to be for my birthday or something like that. And that's when I had stun gunned him and it didn't work and he had backed up and he had chased me a little bit.
The detectives are now using the information gathering approach, where a suspect is given an open-ended question to reiterate every detail for more accurate confessions. And right after doing so, Shane drops a brand new bomb, the story of his birthday party. This means, just like Matt, he is just as guilty of orchestrating this kidnapping. While he may not have given away any overt motive, Jared distancing himself from the crew's drug activities definitely led to his fate. All this brings one question to light. Would all the suspects receive harsh consequences? Shane Johnson pleaded guilty to first-degree homicide, and Jared Wilkes pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit homicide on April 15, 2004. Due to this, Shane Johnson was sentenced to 20 years in prison. However, he would be eligible for parole after 20 years. Gerald Wilkes, on the other hand, was sentenced to 2 to 10 years in prison for his conspiracy to commit murder. Matt was sentenced to 35 years in prison for kidnapping and first-degree murder after making a plea deal. Shane Myers, on the other hand, was sentenced to 25 years to life in prison for his involvement in the murder and kidnapping. Cody Myers was sentenced to 5 years in prison for voluntary manslaughter in relation to Jared's murder. Besides this, Stephen Springfield pleaded guilty to ruining evidence and was sentenced to 6 months in jail. All the suspects were sentenced on November 3, 2006.